Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a like and a comment.
And you can share with a friend if you enjoy it, and subscribe so you're notified of new videos.
Thanks and enjoy the show. When you have a doorway that looks out of place and takes you nowhere, call Today's Homeowner for an entry upgrade.
It's a perfect place to enjoy a beautiful spring day like today.
7 years ago, Jonathan and Paige Ellis built this home for their family on land that has been in Jonathan's family for generations.
My grandfather planted these pecan trees. My sister lives down the street, and so does my mom and dad. Lots of cousins. There are actually 9 houses out here on the land, and we're all related, and we all just kind of take care of each other.
It's been great to have family support around.
And the fact that Paige designed the house makes their situation even more unique.
Well, I've always been fascinated by Victorian architecture, and the gingerbread and all of those architectural details have always been very appealing.
But one entry on the side of the house still seems unfinished, a bit out of place, and is suffering from exposure to the weather. Well, I can see where a roof not only would be a good thing, but to protect those doors. Those doors are taking a beating with all the rain, I would imagine.
Yes, we've got some rot already starting down here at the bottom from where the water has leaked in. It looks unfinished, and it's certainly not what we envisioned. We wanted a wonderful view coming from the kitchen out the French doors, and this is not what we imagined.
Okay, so the vision you had in mind to see this, is this what we're looking for? Is this the focal point of the backyard?
The playhouse was a gift for my daughter's 2nd birthday, and it's not used at all.
It's got to go. Yeah, it's time.
Well, what would you like to see out here, though? Because this is a really cool view from all the way, the other end of the kitchen all the way back. Kind of begs a focal point out there. Any ideas on that?
The kids love to swing, so I think a swing would be a wonderful
nice family
point.
swing, maybe.
Yes, where we could all sit and enjoy the pecan trees and
hopefully look back at the house and actually be proud.
Yeah, not cringe.
And not worried that your doors are going to rot off the side.
I noticed the deck when I drove up. I guess we have a little bit of work maybe to do on that.
With the deck project, it was just basically I wanted to throw something up quickly to cover up the dirt area and to cover up the septic tank.
We have a lot of warped boards, and it's not very safe either.
So Paige and I discussed a design for a roof over this entry that will reflect the architectural details of the house. Then we'll replace the playhouse with a small arbor to support a bench swing and connect that structure to the upgraded entry with stepping stones. A few days later, when I return with Alan and Bear, we move that playhouse. All right, let's set it down right here. There we go.
There we go. Toads, snakes.
Toad! Oh my God! Look at all of them!
Oh, look at the toads.
Wow.
That is a lot of toads.
We'll move this, and you want to grab Mary Paige and see if she can grab
Some
as
of
many
the
as she
toads?
can?
do that.
Yes,
Yeah, do that.
she will love that.
Mary Paige, definitely not squeamish.
A baby one.
All right, save them.
There's one in the corner right there. Once Mary Paige and Caleb relocate the toads, Jonathan and Bear start unloading lumber while I bring Alan up to speed on the roof we're building.
So how far up is that going to go?
Well, let's see. We'll miss the window,
Right.
and it just depends on how far, where we want the beams to sit.
Gotcha. Same type of columns?
Yep, we're able to match the columns, and we're
Okay.
probably going to have to put the columms right on the corner right there. So we might have to bring these handrails back in.
Right.
But all of that's easy. That's the easy stuff.
That's easy stuff.
Yeah, I'll do that, you do that.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. While Jonathan and Paige begin priming the lumber we need for the arbor, Alan and I began removing the rails from the existing porch. This seems simple enough since these support posts are outside of the steps, but Alan has an interesting approach to removing them.
So
You're
I'm
cutting-
on top of it,
And you're
I'm cutting my support from under you.
You might consider a new position there.
I grew up watching, Looney Tunes. I learned this at the Acme School
Yeah.
in Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. Not a good idea.
I wanted a unique looking hanging plant for this porch, but I didn't see any in the store that I really liked, so I decided to make one out of a metal colander. I like the colander because it's metal and really durable, plus it already has drainage holes in it. I started by drilling 3 evenly spaced holes around the rim of the colander. These happen to be about 10 inches apart. And then I spray painted it. It was chrome, but I spray painted it white to match the house trim. Then I simply hung it with 3 chains. These are 16 inches long. I've got S-hooks going through the holes in the colander. Then on the top, I gathered the 3 chains together, and with another S-hook, I hang it. There you go. Perfect height, so I can easily reach it. Now at this stage, all you need to do is line it with some landscaping fabric, or you can use coffee filters if you don't have any. And that's just to keep the soil from draining out of it. Then you put in potting soil, put in the plant, and you've got a beautiful hanging plant.
We're upgrading this awkward entry for Jonathan and Paige to help it match the character of their home. The old porch has to come down first so it can be reconfigured to support a roof. That means placing new posts inside the joists of the porch and securing them with fast-setting concrete, which will allow us to almost immediately rehang the steps. Later, the columns that support the roof will sit directly on top of these posts. Next, we reattach the porch surface, this time just a little higher.
So what do you think now that we raised this up, you don't have that big step down, it just seems to work a lot better, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. The step down was always awkward.
Talking about awkward, this is a little bit of an awkward situation here. I assume that you were planning on maybe stairs going down this way at some point.
Yes, that was the original plan, but it just kind of ran out of gas since I wasn't really happy with this piece.
Right. Well, one suggestion I had is for us to cut this off right here and then just stop it at that point and remove all of this.
Absolutely, I love that idea.
Okay. Now, notice on the deck when I was coming in earlier that you have some screws here, but not all screws. So what's the case there?
Well, the screws were actually put into boards just over the septic tank.
Oh,
so
I got you.
Yeah, that way I could remove and clean the tank. So in this section here and that section there.
Okay. Well, we brought some really nice 3 1/4 inch deck screws, coated deck screws. So we'll get you guys fixed up with that, and you can just go along and screw down every little thing you can.
Screws take more time to install than nails, but they're far less likely to back out as the wood cups and bows with expansion and contraction. Meanwhile, Alan and I are cutting into the siding so we can attach the support beams for the porch directly to the framing of the house.
Now that we have our beams in place and our temporary supports, we can now cut our rafters and move forward with the roof. And the roof pitch is going to be the same as we have on the house, but a much smaller version.
On the ground, Bear helps Jonathan chalk a line along the edge of the overhanging boards so they can be cut off cleanly. Up on the ladders, Alan and I are laying out the rafters and positioning the ridge for the new roof. But nailing on the outside rafters becomes a little like a high wire act.
Okay, so I'm up on these porch beams, and I'm thinking, the only thing holding this up are 2 2x4s.
I don't want this to be Danny's last and final episode.
Then I remembered, we used to put a cross piece on to stabilize it a little bit. That's all I could think about.
Before the inside rafters can be nailed in place, we have to cut out some more of the siding.
We're amazing the homeowners right now.
I got something even better. I'm amazing myself.
After we finish installing the rafters, the decking can go on, and at the end of the first day, this thing is starting to look like a roof.
Oh, I can picture it now. Now I've got the scale. Oh, it looks great.
Look at Jonathan, he's already at it this morning.
That's the kind of homeowner you want to work with right there.
He was working when we left here yesterday, and he's working now.
While Jonathan continues pressure washing the deck, Alan and I begin waterproofing the new roof by nailing down underlayment on the decking. Metal flashing tucked behind the cutout siding will keep the seam dry where the roof meets the house. There's a lot of trim to go on this roof, starting with the soffit area that finishes off the overhang all around the edges.
There. You know, there's so many little pieces of wood that have to go into this fairly small roof, but ultimately, what we want it to look like is if it's been here since the house was built. While we continue building up the layers of trim that'll make this porch roof match the house it's attached to, Jonathan and Paige get started staining the deck. They're applying the stain with a roller, then back brushing into all the crevices and cracks.
Listening to him groan and he sounds like a little old man. How your knees doing, old man? Is that working out for you?
Knees are important. It takes a lot. You got a long way to go with your knees in life. You're talking about people's knees?
I'm not the one on a gardening bench.
So Jonathan, is staining a deck so challenging that you had to break out the kneeling pad for a little prayer along the way?
I swear, I thought it was a prayer kneeler.
But I won't have splinters in my knees. I guarantee you that.
Well, carry on. I like that. I like that.
Hey, Paige, make sure you're painting the deck and not the wall.
I'll get my best man on that one.
I think you got your only man on that. At least I hope that's the case.
By the time the deck is complete, the trim around the porch is too, so we're ready for columns.
Hey, Jonathan, if you got some paint on that brush, come over here for a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
They recommend that when you cut the bottom of a column, to keep that moisture out, you seal it so you see that end grain.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, just dab it on there.
Okay. All right, looks good.
Okay. All right, I'll get that all leveled up. Let's do the other one over here.
Once the columns are plumbed and secured, we install the beadboard ceiling. So at the end of day 2, the only thing the porch lacks is shingles, handrails, and paint.
Loppers for cutting your branches have been around for quite a long time, and the technology really hasn't changed all of that much. I mean, you still have to use your arm strength and the leverage of the handles to get the job done. But Fiskars has come out with the power gear. Now, do you see the gears here? What this does is going to give you more power. So when you are using your arms and you are using the leverage of the handles, you're going to get more power in your cut. How does that translate? Well, look at this. I'm able to cut, wow, through an 1.25 inch thick branch. So this is going to move the project along, and quite honestly, I'm not having to use as much arm strength because I do have that power gear. Now, it's very lightweight, it's very durable, and it's very compact. So if you are having to reach out and reach those long branches and you're working quite a bit, you're not going to tire out. It does have a titanium coated blade, so it's not going to gum up and it's not going to rust, so it's going to be around for a pretty long time.
Our entry update is really coming together. At the start of day 3, Alan and Bear are installing shingles on the porch roof while I'm positioning the arbor with Jonathan and Paige. You don't want it too far away.
Right.
You don't want it too close or it crowds things, so this will give you an idea. So if you look back this way and you look at the center line and you just think of yourself sitting in the swing here, and you can get an idea as far as the space away. Seems pretty good. Looking out this way, seems to work, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
This looks
All
really
right, now,
good.
to give you an idea of what it's going to look like, of course, we'll make it up as we go here, but this gives you an idea. Now, no flooring on it or anything, and instead of the little handrail looking things there, I thought we might do kind of a trellis almost feel on each side, and of course everything will be white. But I'll tell you on the swing, and I saw the swing, unbelievable, unbelievable swing. You might want to paint that gray over there of the deck that you painted yesterday.
That would be awesome.
You know, just so that it ties it together, highlights that a little bit.
I love that idea, and I love the look of this.
The arbor's beautiful. That's great.
Yeah, so now it's post hole digger time.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you would like to experience it.
I would. I've never used one before, so.
Okay, well, let's do some measuring. We'll get you going on that. Obviously, we want the posts far enough apart to accommodate the swing, but we also want them to sit parallel to the wall of the house. Once I get the 4 holes started, Paige takes over with the post hole diggers.
Put your shoulders into it there.
I was a little unsteady, and I'd dig over here, and then I'd dig here, and then and the hole ended up being a little bigger than expected.
Digging a hole, not a pond.
So, yes, I was making a pond. I will take direction. I know it's getting too big.
No, you're doing fine, baby. It's all the same. It goes in the middle of that, no matter what.
I will not be volunteering for post hole digging in the future. No.
Before we set the post, we need to decide how tall they will be. I have 10-foot post, so I'd like to put them 2 foot in the ground. That gets you up about 8 feet. That's what the bottom of this represents, but it's going to be up on its edge, so looking at it like that is what you would see.
Okay.
Does that look good?
That looks great.
But you're going to be looking at it from that angle an awful lot.
Yes, I think that's perfect.
As we're setting the post, Alan and Bear finish the roof and move on to the handrails for the porch. Next, we need to decide on a decorative detail for the beams on the arbor. What's your inspiration? What have you thought about?
Since we've got these corbels here under the roof line, I thought something similar to that would be good.
So if we were to kind of mimic that, then we would have something like this that comes up and then turns like that, and take that out. Not far off, huh?
No, that looks really good.
While I make the scroll cuts, Jonathan and Paige begin staining the swing. Then Jonathan gives me a hand nailing the arbor frame together. After the first row of boards go up, we add shorter pieces on top of them, running perpendicular to the ones beneath them. On each end, we nail similar short pieces that will continue the scroll design. The third level consists of one board that will support the swing itself. Between the posts on each end, we're using pieces of 2-inch wide 1x stock to create a lattice that will later support climbing vines. So at the end of day 3, there's a lot of old wood and new wood to be painted.
Okay, Jonathan, somebody did a lot of work overnight early this morning here. There's caulking everything, all the priming's done. Looks pretty good.
Absolutely, 4:15 this morning, headlamp on, and got to the caulking.
Oh man, you've already done a full day's work already.
Yes, yeah.
Today we'll concentrate on getting the little retainage that we're going to put over here for the 2 beds we'll create. And the biggest bulk of the work will be on creating this nice inviting walkway out to the swing.
Great.
So we talked a few weeks ago about the walk maker, and you selected this particular pattern, which I think is great.
So we lay out the forms to determine our spacing, and we're ready to mix concrete. To continue the gray theme, we're adding a charcoal color cement dye to the water we're using to mix the concrete. Then it's a simple matter of shoveling the mix into the leveled forms and packing it down.
Well, what's going through my head when we're using the walk makers is, how do you get the mold off the cement? How do you fill all the cracks? How do you make sure that it's all leveled out? And all these things, Danny had just a small little hint.
Okay, get right here, grab it on that end, and scissor it back and forth. Now let's go towards this, walk to the house. Go to the house.
See, I would have never known.
Okay, now go back this way.
Boy, just explaining to Jonathan how you have to tap the forms around it to prevent the honeycombing on the concrete really gave me a flashback.
When my very, very first job, when I was about 14, and this is what I did. Tap forms. Vibrating like that will take all the honeycombs off the side.
Oh, wow.
So you just vibrate it like that. That's all you got to do. You're not hitting it hard. It's just vibrating it. There, that one's done.
And what you mean by honeycombs is the bubbles, air bubbles?
Yeah, just air bubbles on the side.
While we're laying the pathway, Bear is busy creating flower beds on either side of the porch so Jonathan and the kids can begin filling in the landscape with new plants and mulch. Then there are just a few final touches to be done, like installing the captain's rail under the porch beams and patching the rotten wood on the door frame. Jonathan and Paige were unhappy with the unfinished look of this doorway on the side of their home. That, combined with a weather-worn deck, dampened their enthusiasm for their yard, even though their home sits on a beautiful piece of property. By raising, reconstructing, and adding a roof to the porch, we've done more than protect the entry from rain. We've added value and style because we built it to mirror the architectural details used elsewhere on the home. The arbor adds visual charm to the view from inside, and the swing will ensure that the space gets used often by the whole family. And with some repairs, cleaning, and a fresh coat of stain, the simple deck now acts as an asset to the house rather than a liability.
It looks finished now. It's beautiful from the kitchen. We've got a wonderful swing where we can sit with the kids. It's a perfect place to enjoy a beautiful spring day like today.
The 2 double doors kind of frame the arbor, which makes it look like a living painting. It's absolutely gorgeous. It draws the eye out there, and the kids love the swing.
It looks like it was designed for the original house. I mean, it fits so perfectly with it that I can't imagine now anything different.
Anytime you add anything to your home, you want to make sure that it complements the home and looks like it's been there since the house was built. And I think we accomplished that very thing with these projects. And of course, it didn't hurt all the sweat equity that Jonathan and Paige contributed to the projects. I think it turned out great, and I hope we were able to help you with some ideas you can use around your home. I'm Danny Lipford. Thanks so much for joining us here on today's Homeowner. Hope to see you next week. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to comment, like, and hit the bell icon so that we can notify you when new videos are posted.
And don't go anywhere, click around and continue the home improving fun.